Hi, it's Maureen Muldoon, and we are on lesson 177. I said 177, but it's actually 167. I'm getting ahead of myself. With A Course in Miracles, the workbook lessons. Hi, it's Maureen Muldoon, and we're on lesson 167. With the Course in Miracles, the workbook lessons, there is one life, and that I share with God. There is one life, and that I share with God. There are not different kinds of life, for life is like the truth. It does not have degrees. It is the one condition in which all that God created share. Like all his thoughts, it has no opposite. There is no death because what God created shares his life. There is no death because an opposite to God does not exist. There is no death because the Father and Son are one. In this world, there appears to be a state that is life's opposite. You call it death. Yet we have learned that the idea of death takes many forms. It is the one idea which underlies all feelings that are not supremely happy. It is the alarm to which you give response of any kind that is not perfect joy. All sorrow, loss, anxiety, and suffering and pain, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, or the merest frown, acknowledge death and thus deny you live. It seems like a lot. Like that seems like can't even have a little sigh. But I guess if we have a sigh or a little unhappiness, like we've given this world some weight, and this world is unworthy of any weight. It's a temporary experience that we're moving through, and we should be happy to experience it and to pass it by. So we'll continue reading. You think that death is of the body, yet it is but an idea, irrelevant to what is seen as physical. A thought is in the mind. It can be then applied as mind directs it, but its origins is where it must be changed, if change occurs. Ideas leave not their source. The emphasis this course has placed on that idea is due to its centrality in our attempt to change your mind about yourself. It is the reason you can heal. It is the cause of healing. It is why you cannot die. Its truth establishes you as one with God. Death is the thought that you are separate from your Creator. It is the belief conditions change, emotions alter because of causes you cannot control, you did not make, and you can never change. It is the fixed belief ideas can leave their source and take on qualities the source does not contain, becoming different from their own origin, apart from it in kind as well as distance and in form. So it's like, you're the thought of God. I'm the thought of God. We are extensions of God. And because of that, like, we only have the attributes of God. Like, we don't have the attributes that are unlike God. And God has never died. So how could we die? God has never suffered. So how can we suffer? I know those are kind of interesting concepts, but just let them wash over you. Play around with it a little bit. It should bring you some peace. Death cannot come from life. Ideas remain united to their source. They can extend all that their source contains. In that, they can go far beyond themselves, but they cannot give birth to what was never given them. As they were made, so will their making be. As they were born, so will they then give birth. And where they come from, there will they return. So if this is true, then we can think about, at least I can think about, I think it's interesting to think about that, God creates by extension without labor. And why would God have any form of labor? And we could also create an effortless ease. And we seem to have fallen asleep to this supernatural power. But believe me, this power is super and also natural. It's absolutely natural to affirm that we are entitled to gracious deliveries. At least that's what I'm accepting today. The mind can think it sleeps, but that is all. It cannot change what is its waking state. It cannot make a body, nor abide within a body. What is alien to the mind does not exist because it has no source. For minds create all things that are and cannot give them attributes it lacks, nor change its own eternal mindful state. It cannot make the physical. What seems to die is but the sign of minds asleep. So it seems like we're in this world of form and we've made the physical, but that's not real. Even when I say that, I think I sound crazy. But under the awareness that if what is real is eternal, then it makes complete sense. Number 7, the opposite of life can only be another form of life. As such, it can be reconciled with what created it, because it is not opposite in truth. Its form may change, it may appear to be what it is not, yet mind is mind, awake or asleep. It is not its opposite in anything created, nor in what it seems to make when it believes it sleeps. So it's saying we're created good, beautiful, and holy. When we create that which is good and beautiful and holy, and that nothing is against us and everything is for us, because everything is of God. God creates only mind awake. He does not sleep, and his creations cannot share what he does not, nor make conditions which he does not share with them. The thought of death is not the opposite to thoughts of life. Forever unopposed by opposites of any kind, the thoughts of God remain forever changeless, with the power to extend forever changelessly, but yet within themselves, for they are everywhere. What seems to be the opposite of life is merely sleeping, when the mind elects to be what it is not, and to assume an alien power which it does not have, a foreign state it cannot enter, or a false condition not within its source. It merely seems to go to sleep a while. It dreams of time and intervals in which what seems to happen never has occurred. The changes wrought are substanceless, and all events are nowhere. When the mind awakes, it but continues as it always was. Let us today be children of the truth and not deny our holy heritage. Our life is not as we imagined it. Who changes life because he shuts his eyes, or makes himself what he is not because he sleeps and sees in dreams an opposite to what he is? We will not ask for death in any form today, nor will we let imagined opposites to life abide even an instant where the thoughts of life eternal has been set by God himself. His holy home we strive to keep today as he established it and wills it be, forever and forever. He is Lord of what we think today, and in his thoughts, which have no opposite, we understand there is one life, and that we share with him, with all creation, and with their thoughts as well, whom he created, a unity of life that cannot separate in death and leave the source of form from where it came. We share one life because we have one source, a source from which perfection comes to us, remaining always in the holy mind which he created perfect. As we were, so we are now, and will forever be. A sleeping mind must waken, as it sees its own perfection mirrored in the Lord of life. So perfect it fades into what is reflected there. And now it is no more a mere reflection. It becomes the thing reflected, and the light which makes reflection possible. No vision now is needed, for the wakened mind is one that knows its source, itself, its holiness. Sometimes just reading these lessons trip me out. And maybe that's true for you. That's why it's nice to read them together. You know, I think the main idea of this lesson is that nothing leaves its source. They repeated that like 1,000,002 times. And so like when you plant a carrot seed, you get a carrot. When you plant an apple seed, you get an apple. When you plant a God seed, you get a God. You know, you get an extension of God. And what is God? God is love. And so you are an extension of God's love. You are made of love, in love, and for love. And we've taken on this, we're falling asleep. It says in this lesson that we just fell asleep. And in this sleep, our mind goes blank, and we think we make up and we give meaning to all these things, but they're really not. It's not worth the time of day. And so we can hang out here, and we can stay awake. And from our awakened state, we can extend love. And that would be a good use of our time. If we're going to be in time, we might as well use it well and wisely to love each other. And that's what I'll have to say about that. Namaste. If you have any questions or thoughts of your own, any ideas, leave them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks. Bye.